Hello, lovelies, and not so lovelies, obviously. Welcome to week 7. To think about that for a moment. Week 7 of your White Rose home learning with Numeracy. Before we begin, as always, a couple of people to mention, some shout outs from Hudson class, Miss Stein and Miss Kaminska. We'd love to say well done to Rosa for continually submitting lots of your home learning, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Still got that stamina after all this time, and I would like to say a super well done to Iona in Rio Grande for getting her work done, finding a way around it, emailing me with any questions that she has. She's been really proactive in making sure that she's getting that work done as well, so super well done, Iona. Again, we could have mentioned all of you. We could have mentioned at least 4 million people, even though we've only got 30 in each class, but I'm sure we could have mentioned all of you anyway. Anyway, right, this week is going to be a little bit of a continuation from last week's work about fractions and decimals, and some of you, at least the very first day or so, it's going to come across as being a little bit similar to something you've done before. So don't panic if you look at this and go, "I've done this before, Mr. Sheffield." Yeah, I'm sure actually some of you probably have, but as always, we recap something we have done just to make the next step a little bit easier. So, first off is tenths as decimals, our fraction and decimal equivalents that we did a couple of weeks ago. We're looking at tenths today. So here we've got some matching activities. As an example, 3 tenths. You know, you've got a bar here. You can divide them into 10 equal parts because the denominator means how many equal parts it's divided into. It's like every video I have to say that. And obviously if you've got one whole and you divided it into 10 equal parts, that is 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. All of those are 0.1. So 7 lots of 0.1 is 0.7. So 7 tenths is the same as 0.7. So, oh, here we go. We've got an example right here. 7 tenths is the same as 0.7, which is the same as 7 tenths. Okay, so you've got a couple of matching activities to do. It should be a nice, simple start to your week. Okay. Second one, day 2, is about dividing numbers by 10. Okay, so this is where the recap of the tenths and the hundredths is going to come in really handy, because we're going to be doing some multiplying and dividing numbers by 10 and 100 this week. Again, so here we've got some, this shows 20 shared between 10. Well, that makes sense. We've got one group here, one group here, one group here, and we got 10 groups. So this 20 has been shared into 10 equal groups, and so 20 divided by 10, well, I've got 2 here, I've got 2 here, I've got 2 there, 2 there, 2 there. So 20 divided by 10 is 2. Now, it gets a little bit trickier when you're thinking about 4 shared between 10. So here, the 4 has actually been split up. We've got each of those ones, you've got 4 ones, 4 units. Each of those units has been split into 10 tenths. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 1 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've got another 1 there. That makes 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've got another 1 there. That's 3. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 4. So you've got 4 whole ones, 4 whole units that have been divided into tenths. So you've got that many tenths there. You've got 40 tenths altogether. So it says here, complete the calculation. So exactly the same as the one above. 20 shared into 10 equal groups is 2. 4 shared into 10 equal groups. Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Let's have a look at the next group. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Oh, look, they're equal. So use these to help you out if you're not sure. Alternatively, you could use a method that we've used before, is the draw your place value grid and move that number up and down depending on, or left and right depending on if you're dividing or multiplying. So there's some sort of simple 2-digit divisions by 10 to do. So it's a nice kind of ease you into dividing by 10. Now the next day, day 3, is very similar to day 1, but instead of tenths, you're now dealing with hundredths. Okay, so you've got 100 square here, you've got a words column, you've got a fractions column, and you've got a decimals column, and you've got to try and draw or write the matching things. So here it says 36 hundredths. So you've got to write the fraction 36 hundredths. So your numerator will be 36, your denominator will be 100. Then you've got to write that 36 hundredths as a decimal. And there's a little clue down here to help you out. So if you're not too sure, just leave that column blank for the moment and you'll start to see some patterns. And also you've got the 100 squared to colour in with your 36 of those hundredths. Okay, it might be a tiny little bit difficult to colour it in, but don't worry if you can't colour in each of those tiny little squares. And then again, you've got some very similar activities to the first day where you are relating fractions and decimals to each other in those hundredths way. Now, if you're not sure about any of these activities, again, look at the White Rose White Rose website, and they have the videos for each of the days up to help you out. The last day, so just like the second day is dividing 2-digit numbers by 10, now you're dividing 1 and 2-digit numbers by 100. So think about this week as two different parts. You've got the tenths as decimals and dividing by 10. Then you've got the hundredths of decimals and dividing by 100. So they're very, very similar pairs of days that you'll be able to use. Okay. Now, the challenge questions this week. I'm actually going to give you some extremely challenging questions. So don't worry if you struggle with these. But actually, I think you might have a really, really, really good go at this. Okay, I've chosen some questions that are almost year 5 level. So don't worry if you find these a challenge. These are like your extra questions to do this week. So it starts off with a multiplying by 100. And then you've got something times 10 equals 1,500, which means you might need to work backwards, rearrange that so you've got both numbers on the same time. So this multiplication sign might become a division sign. I don't know. Who knows? Again, something similar here. Something divided by 100. So a number, when you share it into 100 different places, 100 different pieces, is 150. Means you've got 100 lots of 150, 100 lots of groups of multiplication. Anyway, the hardest question, this one down here, you've got to choose the correct card that makes each of these number sentences correct. So you've got a times 10, 100 and 1,000, and you've also got a divide 10, 100 and 1,000. And so 5.3 times 100 is, well, you know what? I know my logic here in my brain. By 5.3, if it's getting smaller, it's probably not going to be one of those multiplying ones, is it? It's going to be one of these division ones. Again, here, 5.3 multiply or divide by something is 5,300. That's a bigger number, so it's probably going to be a multiply. So use those little clues to help you out. I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you really enjoyed Science Week. I am super looking forward to seeing if you guys have submitted to Mr. Vides any videos about Science Week that was last week. Stay safe, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.